Hi, this is Katrina from Stampin' and Scrappin' from the Heart. This is the first video in the series for the Christmas in July for those who placed a $30 order with me through my store for the month of July. I had the $30 minimum. You got the make the Christmas cards. So this is card number 1. This is the one using Peaceful Pines stamp set. This is a nice one. It has a coordinating set of framelits that goes with it, and we're going to be using both the framelits and the stamp. If you have your kit in front of you, I will have the tree cut for you. You'll just have to stamp on it. I can't do any stamping for you. That's a Stampin' Up! Rule. You have to do your own stamping. But I do have all the cardstock included in your kit that you'll need to put this card together. Can't stamp, therefore I can't emboss either. Okay, but you have the tree cut for you, and I'm going to go through how we make this card. Okay, so let's get started. They're going to start with, first of all, a piece of Whisper White that is cut at 8.5 by 5.5. I do have it scored at 4 1/4, and the scoring is done for you, so all you have to do is just fold your card. And this is going to be your card base, and you're going to set that aside. You also have a piece of Emerald Envy. This is one of the new in colors. This here piece is cut at 5 1/4 by 4. That will layer on your card front. And then the piece that we're going to stamp on, which is another piece of Whisper White, 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. Okay. Ink we're using is the Emerald Envy. We're using Soft Sky. We will be using Versamark so that we can do our embossing. And of course we need a heat tool to do our embossing. And that should do it. You'll need your Big Shot if you were to be cutting anything. But like I said, I have your tree cut for you when you receive it. Alright, I don't need memento. We're going to start with the Soft Sky ink. And there's a little snowflake in this set. Okay, and I'm going to pull that out. And I'm just going to do a random stamping. I don't want to go where I'm going to have my primary stamped tree, so just going to do a little around there, like so. Okay, so these, I know that's probably not real good. I got a little glare here and I can't get it to go away, but I do have the random. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to grab my Emerald Envy, and I want the tree that has all the little branches. No verses on it. And I'm going to aim for right about the center of my card, right about there. Okay. Now I'm going to take another piece of cardstock, a little scrap, and I'm going to stamp another tree. And this is the one I'm going to cut out. And like I said, yours is going to already be cut for you, just in case you don't have the framelits. Clean that stamp off, because otherwise I'll have a mess. I don't know about any of you, but I'm a pretty messy stamper. Okay, so now I'm just going to set this over here. I'm going to grab my Big Shot. Let's see if I can get that in here. Okay. And you know, when you're using the Big Shot, you always have your cutting plates. You have your, I'm using my magnetic platform. Then I have a cutting plate, my cardstock. I'm going to move that in so you can see it. I'm going to get my framelit that coordinates with this particular one. And you're going to get it down and lined up. And then you're going to put on your second plate. So you always have, and let me see if I can do this without bumping the camera. Roll it through. Okay. Now we have our cut tree. Bring our card back in. And that is just going to layer on there with a dimensional. But I don't want to put that on there yet because I do want to do my embossing before I do that. So we're going to get our stamp set again. And we're going to grab the 'Tis the Season. I do have my little embossing buddy. This helps keep the embossing powder from sticking where you don't want it to stick. And that's why I don't want to put my dimensional on there with my little tree that I just cut out. Because I don't want embossing powder sticking to my dimensional and making a mess. So we're going to put that there. And then we're going to bring in our Versamark. Versamark is a sticky ink that is for embossing. And I'm just going to come down here in the corner and stamp that down. Okay. Bring in my embossing powder. My gold, because I do use it a lot, I do have it in this container here. Got a mess though. Alright. Flick it. Give it a good flick. Alright. Put that away. And we're going to bring in our heat tool. I do like to let my heat tool warm just a minute before I put it to my paper. That does help prevent some warping of the paper right away. Because that's, when you put the heat on there and you let it do all of its heating up right on your cardstock, you will get a lot of curling. So to prevent that, I just want to melt the paper, the embossing powder, not the paper. I let it heat quickly before I do that. And as you can see, hopefully, get it up close, you can see that it's melting. And once you have a nice shine, and it doesn't look like powder, trying to get it in the light better so that you can see it. Okay, and there it is. Alright, set that aside. Now, I'm just going to take my snail, Line it up on our card. Kind of hard doing this around the camera, I gotta tell you. Okay. Then I'm just gonna grab a dimensional. Actually two. Place one towards the top, one towards the bottom. Remove the backing. And that just lines up there. And now you have your little tree. Okay, so here are the two cards. Okay, so you're going to make one more for a total of 3. And now we'll go on to the next one. Hi, alright, this is Katrina. I'm back with video number 2 with card number 2. This time we're going to make the Joy card. This one we are using the Joyful Nativity set. I love this one. It's got a lot of different things you can do with it. You have different scenes that you can build with it. It is photopolymer, another one of my favorites. They do stain, and as you can see, this one's really stained and really loved. So I have that mounted. We are using the Nativity piece. I have a card base that is 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. So we will go ahead and just fold that. Then I have a piece of Designer Series paper. This is from the Regal's Designer Series paper stack. You'll find that in the catalog. And this is the Cherry Cobbler diagonal stripe piece. And this here is cut at 2 1/8, excuse me, by 5.5. And that's going to adhere to the right side of the card like so. And then we have a piece of Whisper White that is cut at 2 3/4 by 4. And this is the piece that we're going to stamp on. So I'll bring that here. And then you'll also need a piece of Cherry Cobbler Baker's Twine to also go around the card. And this is about 36 inches long. So approximately 1 yard of twine. And you'll have 3 pieces in your packet. Okay. One for each card that you're going to make. So I'm going to start with my 2 3/4 by 4 inch piece, and I'm going to start with the Joy stamp. And I'm using Cherry Cobbler ink. And we're going to just ink that up. Make sure you get it inked up well. Like I said, this stamp here has been well loved. It's one of my favorites in the annual catalog that came out. Alright, so we're just going to line that up on the center of this piece. Another item you may want for this card is your Project Life corner rounder, or any corner rounder actually would work, but I do like the Project Life corner rounder. There we go. Okay, so we have that stamped now, and we're done with the Cherry Cobbler ink. So we'll set that aside. Then we're going to bring in the Nativity piece and our Memento Tuxedo black ink. Okay, so we're going to ink this up. And make sure you get it good and inky. The one thing I found with photopolymer stamps, you do want to make sure you have a little bit of a cushion underneath you. I just have a piece of fun foam that I use underneath my stamping. A lot of people use their piercing mat. That will work just fine. It's a little grainy. Okay. Get that inked up well, and then you're just going to stamp that, and I apologize if I'm getting in the middle here, but it's hard to get around the camera. Alright, and you're just going to go down in the middle of the circle and stamp down. The other thing with the photopolymer, I found if you hold your stamp down for just a couple of extra seconds, you'll get a much better impression. Okay? And then bring it up. So you'll see how you get a more solid. I'll actually bring that up. It's a little more solid and less grainy if you just kind of stamp and then pull up. If you hold it down, your color will transfer better. Okay. So there's that. And then what I did is I took my corner rounder and I did the opposing corners. I did top, left, bottom, right. So let's just... It's very hot and sticky this evening. I have my air conditioner going, but still feel a little sticky. Alright, so now that's set. So I'm going to set that aside for just a minute. I feel like my hands are sticking to the cards and everything. I'm going to take my adhesive. I'm just using snail, but you can use whichever adhesive you're comfortable with. I'm just going to line that up on the edge of the card here. And that goes all the way to the end. Sure, let's get this on straight. Bear with me here. Okay, there we go. So you want to be on the end like so. Then I'm going to take some dimensionals and we're going to pop this up. Oop. I like to use 5. 1 in each corner and then 1 in the center so that the center doesn't sag. Give them a good little press there. And we're just going to set that on the center of our card, like so. And then take your baker's twine, wrap it around your card twice, and this is where I like to bring in my tweezers. I'm going to show you a little trick with tying these bows. Once I get my little square knot started here, I take my tweezers and grab hold of that, and it keeps it nice and tight while I tie my bow. So I don't know about you, but I fumble and struggle with trying to hold that down. Well, that does it for me. Just a little trick to help you with your tying your bows. So there. Now I can take that off and I can just fuss with it a little bit and adjust. And then I'll just take my scissors and I will trim my tails. Like so. And there you have it. That's card number 2 in our Christmas in July series. So we have one more to go, so I want you to pause your video right now and go ahead and put your other 2 together and then come back and we'll do card number 3. Bye for now. Okay, welcome back. We're ready to start card number 3. Card number 3 is our Thinking of You at Christmas with the ornament, and we are using the embellished ornaments stamp set. Okay, you have enough materials to make 3 of these cards. What you have is a piece of real red cardstock. This is cut at 8.5 by 5.5, and of course it's scored at 4 1/4, just like all of the rest. And we're just gonna fold that nice, burnish it down a little so it sits nice for you. Then we have just some scrap pieces of white, really, but I have everything cut for you in your kit. But I'm going to show you how I did it all. Okay, so there is some cutting with the Big Shot, but again, that's all done for you. What I started off with is some real red ink, and I'm going to do a tone on tone with the holly piece. Okay, so we're going to start with that, and we're just going to do some random stamping here on the cardstock. And I just went off the paper a little and just kind of went around randomly. I'm really not going to see anything on this side, but just in case some of that sticks out, we will go ahead and put one there. All right. Oops, sorry about bumping that camera. Alright, so that takes care of that. Then we're going to bring in our Big Shot. Okay, I've already done this just to make it pretty quick for you to get through this video, but what you're going to do is you would take a piece of Whisper White and the Lots of Labels. You're going to take the largest die from the Lots of Labels, and I ran it through the Big Shot with it hanging off the paper like so. Just put the edge of the end of the paper right where these little edges are, right there. Sandwich it between your 2 cutting plates and run it through the Big Shot. So when it comes out, this is what you have. You don't have the scalloped edge on this end. So that's going to lay flat on the edge of your card. Okay, like so. Okay, so that's what we have there. I'm going to put my card base aside and let that set now that we have that all, and I don't need this scrap. And then on another piece, I'm going to take my ornament, followed by some nice green. I'm using the Emerald Envy again, one of the new in colors that I love. Get my ornament nice and inked up and juicy, and I'm going to stamp it down. And I get a nice impression. And then I'm going to run this through the Big Shot and cut out my ornament. Okay. And through the magic of television, we have a perfectly cut ornament. Okay, so next I'm going to take some of my lovely rhinestones, which you will have in your packet, the size that you need. And I'm just going to stick them right in the center. Sure. Of the little flowers. This is a really quick, easy card. Then I'm going to take a little piece of the silver 1/8 inch ribbon. And I'm going to make a bow. Your bows are all finished for you, so all you have to do is stick them on. I didn't want you to have to struggle like I do. Pull it nice and tight. And then fuss with it a tad. You don't need it to be really big. We just want a little. And then I took my scissors. Where's my ribbon scissors? There they are. Using a glue dot. Put that right at the top of your ornament, like so. There. Next, I took my ornament and I'm going to use some dimensionals. I use a few. I probably go a little overboard, but that's just me. I like everything on there nice and secure, and I don't want it sagging anywhere. And I applied this to my lots of labels piece that was cut out, because then I have a frame of reference for where I'm stamping my thinking of you. Okay, so I just set that on there in the center, and now I can see where, as you can see here, it's on the diagonal, but this will keep me from going too high or too low. Okay, so now I know I'm going to go right about there. So I'm going to find my real red ink. Oop. And stamp straight down, straight up, don't rock, and you'll get a perfect impression every time. And that's it for that. And we bring our card base back in. Use some snail, or again, whatever adhesive you're comfortable using and prefer. And you're just going to bring it right there, and down it goes. There you have it. So now go ahead, pause this video, make your other 2 for a total of 3, and that completes your Christmas in July. Thanks for shopping with me, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you forgive my errors in these videos. This is the first time I've ever done this, but I hope to be able to do it in the future. Bye!